I'm an extremely healthy person. I'm very active. I've never had any health issues. There is zero cancer in my family. I tested negative for the BRCA gene. I just never thought cancer would be something that I would ever have to deal with in my life. So this all started when I went for my regular OBGYN appointment. I went to see Lori Green, and she did a standard breast exam and immediately felt a lump that I hadn't felt. And she suggested that I go ahead and make an appointment to have, an ultrasound and mammogram. And then we got the news they were going to have to do a biopsy. It looked like cancer. And so it was kind of, my heart sunk to my stomach because we have 2 kids who were 4 and 6 at the time. So to get that news was pretty major.
I remember her calling me, and it was just, she could barely, kind of get the words out. And she said, all she was saying was, they found a lump and they think it might be cancer. And, just the shock of that, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it just was something that wasn't even on our radar at all.
Then I went in to have a biopsy done, and that's where I saw Nazia Joffrey, Dr. Joffrey. And the weight of everything that happened kind of hit me at that moment. And I looked at Dr. Joffrey and I said, am I going to die? And she said, I see this all the time, and no, you're going to be okay. You're not going to die. And that, just hearing her say that was everything to me in terms of, setting the tone for how I was going to approach this and giving me comfort when I most needed it. She just absolutely was the right person to see at the right moment.
Because to undergo a bilateral breast biopsy when you have been otherwise healthy and, you've read your report and there's these very scary terms where, you think you probably have breast cancer, you don't know the implication. It's just, the whole thing is overwhelming.
We got the biopsy results. It turns out that I had breast cancer in both breasts, and there were 2 different types of breast cancer. And so then I had to start my journey considering where I was going to get my treatment and who was going to treat me. And ultimately, I decided to see Dr. Stephanie Jeske at CPMC.
She had a great response. We could start to see it even after just the first chemotherapy treatment. She was responding right away.
Women over the age of 40 are actually recommended to have mammograms on an annual basis. And part of the reason is that mammograms are so excellent today at detecting very early breast cancers. Suzanne is living proof of why that can really save lives and cure cancer.
The NOTCAN program actually was way ahead of its time. We were the first center in San Francisco to start a navigation program for breast cancer navigation. And as a result of that, we have learned and we have expanded that program through philanthropy for other cancers.
I discovered the lump on my own. It was only 6 months post my last mammogram. Maggie Boyle, the nurse navigator that I was assigned to, really kind of made me feel lucky to be going through this process because I had her as a literal navigator. She was a human who is kind, knowledgeable, and treated me as a complete person rather than another patient with breast cancer. So I am so incredibly grateful that the NOTCAN family has provided these resources, have ensured that up to 30,000 women, including myself, have access to programming that really lessen the load when you're going through this very arduous, stressful time.
It is dizzying and overwhelming because of all of the choices and elements required in someone who's diagnosed with breast cancer. And you just almost lose your ability to think clearly. So the idea that there would be someone who takes your hand, puts their arm around you and says, you know what, I'm going to guide you. That makes all the difference.
That felt really great to have a diagnosis and then to immediately have a referral to a breast cancer surgeon, Dr. Lee Char, who Maggie assured me was the best of the best, and we found her to be just that. So within a month of my diagnosis, I was scheduled for surgeries.
So what I admire most about the Notkin family's gift is that it didn't just support and elevate one program, it's actually inspired change across the hospital. The Notkin family had their own personal experience, and that inspired them to create this program, which over the past 20 years has now touched more than 30,000 women's lives, and it continues to impact women every single day.
What's amazing about the Notkin family that they're still involved, and they are side by side with us, continuing this program and developing it every day, making it better every day for our patients.
The Notkins are my heroes. I think they have truly changed the care of women with breast cancer in San Francisco.
I'm cancer-free. I'm on kind of what they call adjuvant therapy, which is a long-term therapy to deal with the type of cancer I had, and the main focus is to prevent a recurrence for me.
Right now, I feel fantastic. I literally feel fantastic. Someone said to me the other day, another mom at school said to me, "You're always incredibly so cheery when you say hello," and it's because that's what I feel inside. It feels amazing to just feel normal again.